Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We'll be right back with today's guest, but first, let's hear from our podcast sponsors. We want to thank Violet Defense for their support of the Educational AD Podcast. Violet Defense is dedicated to protecting our world from germs by bringing the power of UV disinfection to everyday spaces. Their patented technology enables them to harness the power of the sun to incorporate ultraviolet light into products and environments like never before. Whether you're ready to implement some of their existing products, or if you'd like to explore researching and developing a custom deployment of their technology for your school, Violet Defense has the solutions and the experience you need. Go to violetdefense.com for more information. We also want to thank Sideline Interactive. You know, it's becoming harder and harder to fund an athletic department these days, but Sideline Interactive's indoor scoring tables and video boards can generate $10,000 or more every year, while also creating excitement in the gym and the ultimate game day experience for your student athletes. Go to sidelineinteractive.com or call 832-786-0302 to schedule a live web demo, see their tables and boards in action. You can also email them at sales@sidelineinteractive.com. That's sales@sidelineinteractive.com. I promise you will come away very impressed. We also want to thank Wall of Fame by Vital Signs. You know, they are on a mission to bring your school's legacy to life. They provide a variety of interactive touchscreen video consoles along with an extensive library of templates to make it easier than ever to recognize the athletic achievements of your students, both past and present. For ideas on how to showcase your school's diverse history, along with your proudest moments, go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. Or to learn more and get started with your own digital Wall of Fame tribute, call them at 614-981-3589, or you can reach them at sales@vitalsignswalloffame.com. That's sales@vitalsignswalloffame.com. We also want to thank Huddle. Remember, at Huddle, we power sports. More than 180,000 teams, including some of the best in the world, are using Huddle to improve the performance of their teams and their athletes using video and analytics. Huddle's the complete performance platform. They have online tools, mobile and desktop apps, smart cameras like the Huddle Focus. There's always analytics, along with a whole lot more. Huddle's built for every level of play, from club and youth teams all the way through high school and college programs, and even professional teams are using Huddle to raise their performance level. You're in pretty good company with over 6 million users, including your student athletes, a lot of their parents, and the coaches of the college and university teams you're trying to get to recruit your kids. If you want to find out more about what Huddle can do for you and how your school can become a Huddle school, go to huddle.com and talk to their professionals. Remember, at Huddle, we power sports. We also want to thank Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack, as they are the named sponsor for the Athletic Director's Toolbox segment of our podcast. Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack are a quick, easy, and affordable way for you to collect comprehensive data that allows you to evaluate and improve your entire athletic department. Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack also gives you access to the 95% of the parents and the players that really love your program, and it gives them a voice to help demonstrate the importance that a positive athletic experience has for them. Go to Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack and check out their testimonials, and then give them a call at 1-800-738-6466 or email them at info@athleticsurveys.com to get started. If you've never used a survey to take the pulse of your student athletes or your parents, you're really missing out. Talk to the pros at Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack and let them help you take your athletic department from good to great. We also want to thank our good friends at Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. You can learn more about what Hometown Ticketing can do for you and your department by talking to the professionals at hometownticketing.com. Hometown Ticketing, simple and easy online ticketing. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We truly have an old friend as our guest today, Tyler DeLucca. He's a digital and consumer strategist for the Vinick Sports Group, and he's going to tell you what all that means. It's really pretty cool. But I met Tyler back when I was at Maclay. You know, he worked for us in our athletic department, did a variety of things in game day management, and was just a really quality person. He got his undergraduate degree in sport management at FSU, and then got a couple of master's degrees. He got a master's degree in sport management and an MBA from the University of South Florida. And he's going to talk to us a little bit about, his application in the sporting world and maybe a few things that athletic directors can learn. So Tyler DeLucca, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much, Jake. It's a pleasure to be on here, and I really appreciate you reaching out and having me on today. Looking forward to sharing my personal career path today. And when you reached out to me, it made me think about all the great times that we had at Maclay together. So I just hope that I can share some of those memories and experiences that I had to, help inform and educate others that might be looking to go down a similar career path, in whether it's high school or college athletics.
No, absolutely. And again, we did have a lot of fun there at Maclay. Had a great department. You certainly added to that. Tyler, we always like to let our listeners have a chance to get to know our guests. So tell them a little bit about yourself, where you were born, where you grew up, went to school, and college activities, and then the path that's led you to your current position.
Yes, sir. Apologies. I'm currently on my lanai, but I'm originally from Fort Myers, Florida. Grew up playing baseball, soccer, tennis. I love of sports. Was just outstanding at that time, and I knew that was what I wanted to follow when I went to undergrad. So I went to Florida State, got my degree in sport management from Florida State University. Worked in the ticket office and ticket operations while I was at Florida State, and then also had the pleasure of working with you at Maclay, helping out with game day management. From there, that was around 2017. I went to the University of South Florida in Tampa, and went through the Vinick Sport and Entertainment Management program. That's kind of a mouthful, but it was a very great program. Had a ton of great experiences. It was a dual degree program, so like you said, I was able to get my master's in sport and entertainment management, and then as well as an MBA. And the MBA is what ultimately drove me to that program. While I was there, I was fortunate enough to work for the Outback Bowl, minor league baseball, and USF athletics. So I've really, had a ton of different experiences. A lot that's kind of helped me into the path that I am in today, which is now with the Vinick Sports Group, the parent company of the Tampa Bay Lightning, and I'm working in marketing analytics, focusing on our brand and social media. But really happy to be here today. I know that was kind of a lot, but appreciate you having me and excited to share more.
Oh, no, absolutely. And again, you and I were talking a little bit before we came on. Just share with our listeners briefly, what the Vinick Sports Management Group is, and then maybe a little bit, save some of it, just a little bit of some of the things that you do.
Yeah, so the Vinick Sports Group is the parent company of the Tampa Bay Lightning, as well as the Yuengling Center, Amalie Arena, Tampa Bay Sports, a bunch of sports properties in Tampa. And the owner of that is Jeff Vinnick, who is the owner of the Lightning. He actually is the sponsor of the graduate program that I went through at USF. So some of my classmates were fortunate enough to work for the Lightning while they were in school. I did my residency at minor league baseball at the time while I was in school. So currently with the Lightning, focusing on marketing analytics. I don't know if I should keep going or save that part, but I'll leave that up to you.
Okay. Well, again, those sporting references or those venues, very familiar to people in Florida. This isn't,
Yes,
and again, Tyler did spend some time, working with minor league baseball, but this is the big leagues. This is the Tampa Bay Lightning, Stanley Cup champs. So it's really pretty cool. And we're going to take a quick break here, but during the course of our interview, Tyler's going to share some of the things that he does on behalf of the Lightning that maybe a high school AD can incorporate into their life. Stay with us. We're going to take a quick break. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to thank Huddle for their support of the Educational AD Podcast. Remember, at Huddle, we power sports. More than 180,000 teams, including some of the best in the world, are using Huddle to elevate the play of their athletes and their teams using video and analytics. Huddle is a complete performance platform. They have online tools, mobile and desktop apps, smart cameras like the Huddle Focus. We actually have a Huddle Focus camera in our gym at McClay, and our coaches just love it. Of course, there's analytics and a whole lot more. Huddle's built for every level of play, from the club and youth programs all the way through high school and colleges, and even professional teams are using Huddle to raise the level of play in their teams. You're in pretty good company with over 6 million users, including your student athletes, a lot of their parents, and the coaches of the college and university teams that you're trying to get to recruit your kids. If you want to find out more about what Huddle can do for you and how your school can become a Huddle school, go to huddle.com and talk to their professionals. Remember, at Huddle, we power sports. We are back visiting with Tyler DeLucca. He's a digital and consumer strategist for the Vinick Sports Group in Tampa. He's also worked with me at the McClay School during his undergraduate years in game day management. Tyler, we always ask our guests about the mentors that they've had. None of us gets to where we're at on our own. So who are some of the mentors that you've had? Maybe parents or family members growing up, or people that you worked with along the way. The expression I like to use is, I still hear those voices in my head. So whose voice do you still hear?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I definitely still hear those voices in my head. I feel like, we have mentors at different stages of our life and career. And when I was in high school, I definitely leaned on my parents as that voice. My dad always pushing me to never give up, especially while I was on the field, just to always do my best. And my mom, when I was in high school, instilled in me a great work ethic, because she didn't really come from much, and everything that we have today is from her. So she really instilled in me that great work ethic. When I got to FSU, I was lucky enough to work from you, and I know that you helped me so much and my passions, the things that I was looking to accomplish, whether that be in high school athletics or collegiate athletics. And when I got to my graduate program, I had a great boss at minor league baseball, who I still keep in contact with this day, and he just always pushed me to continue learning, just to continue getting out of your comfort zone. That was something that I struggled with for a while, but when I got to grad school, it really opened my eyes that, when you get outside your comfort zone, you can learn a lot more, and you're willing to do things that you didn't necessarily think that you could. And so just continuing to develop those relationships, authentic relationships with people, is something that he instilled in me too. So those are the people to date that have had a great impact on me and have helped me get to where I'm at today.
Well, I appreciate you including me in that group. You mentioned minor league baseball, and we reconnected, I guess, on LinkedIn after you'd left McClay, and I noticed that was what you were doing at that time. Take our listeners through that experience of working, kind of behind the scenes, the administrative things. What were some of the cool tasks or maybe interesting challenges that you had during that time?
Yeah, so I mentioned a few times that I went through the grad school at USF. So that was a partnership that they had with minor league baseball that allowed me to work there while I was a student. And so while I was there, it was such a great team environment, and the focus was always around fun. One of the guys that I worked with, and he's also a great mentor for me, always said that minor league baseball is one of the hardest things to sell. We were in the business development sponsorship. That was kind of where my focus was, and he said it was hard to sell because operationally across the entire United States, there was 160 teams. So trying to get everybody to work together wasn't always the easiest. So it required a great deal of communication, organization, and then execution. And we honestly, like, the team was so outstanding, and I remember that they won awards from the Sports Business Journal because of all of just the diligent work that they have put in over the years. And so Ultimately, it was always about fun because we wanted to promote the game of baseball, but always encourage fans to have a great time while they were at the game. And so that was kind of like my big takeaway. While I was there, they kind of like let me establish a niche role in like marketing analytics, which has helped me get to where I'm at today with the Vinick Sports Group.
Yeah, we're going to jump into that during our next segment. You made me think of something. A while back, we had another guest on, a gentleman named Jesse Cole, who's the owner of the Savannah Bananas, and his big thing was, the fan experience. Are you familiar
Yes,
with any of the work that he's done?
I am familiar. I follow him on LinkedIn and I love his content. It's so entertaining and he does a phenomenal job.
Yeah, I bent his ear quite a bit about how much of that would transfer to the high school AD environment, and he actually said he felt it'd be 100%. So I know he's got some cool ideas. For our listeners, once again, we're visiting with Tyler DeLucca. He's a digital and consumer strategist with the Vinick Sports Group. Basically, he works for the Tampa Bay Lightning, promoting their activities. We're going to find out exactly what a digital consumer strategist does when we come back. But let's take another quick break. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We also want to thank Sideline Interactive for their support of the podcast. We have a Sideline Interactive indoor scoring table at our gym in Maclay, and it is fantastic. Of course, we use it for home games, but we also use it for pep rallies. We use it for signing ceremonies. It's a tremendously versatile tool, and you really should check these folks out. It's becoming harder and harder to fund an athletic department, but Sideline Interactive's indoor scoring tables and video boards can generate $10,000 or more every year while creating excitement in the gym and the ultimate game day experience for your athletes. Go to sidelineinteractive.com or call them at 832-786-0302 to schedule a live web demo and see their tables and boards in action. You can also email them at sales@sidelineinteractive.com for more information. That's sales@sidelineinteractive.com. Check them out. I promise you, you will come away very impressed. Hey, everybody, welcome back. We're visiting with Tyler DeLucca, Florida State grad, USF master's degree, double grad, and now working for the digital or as a digital consumer strategist for the Vinick Sports Group in Tampa. Tyler, tell our listeners, what does a digital consumer strategist do? And then maybe later on, what are some things that they might be able to do as ADs along those lines?
Yes, thank you, Jake. So with my role, I know the title could be a little bit vague, but I'll clear some things up here. So I feel like my job is split up into two separate roles. On the digital side, I focus on helping grow our social media and analyzing the content that we currently put out, so that way we could, best cater to what our fans want to see across Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So it's really trying to drive engagements with our fans through social media and through email marketing. On the other side, the consumer side is more of a focus on our sponsorship and partnership department, where they're seeking to, sell national partnerships with brands, that we have associated with the Lightning. And so it's my job to support them with data, with information that they need to best go to the brand and say, hey, look, the Tampa Bay Lightning fans like to drink this type of soda, or they like to eat this type of food. And it's my job to help, arm our team with that information so that they could best be ready to go sell strategic partnerships. And mixed with that is the social media aspect as well. So I hope that is a decent job of kind of summarizing what I do. It's a new role, so it's a little bit niche, but it's been a lot of fun since I started this past August.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. The first part that you mentioned, it sounds similar to what an athletic director might do if they're reaching out to a local sponsor, trying to get them, hey, would you sponsor a sign in our gym, or would you sponsor a scoreboard? Is that a fair analogy?
Yeah, I think that's a great example. Local brands want to find a way to connect with the people in their community. And I think that high school athletics is a great way to do so. It's also an opportunity. The sports landscape is changing rapidly. And so I think that with brands coming in, it offers a kind of a new route that we haven't really seen before. So as an athletic director, I would just do my due diligence as far as what opportunities are out there to bring in revenue for our high school that we could take that money and use it for equipment or other things that we need.
You mentioned social media, and I got involved with promoting an athletic department through social media very, very late in my career. And would dare say there's probably a couple of dinosaurs out there like me that are still struggling to do that. At your level, what are some, and again, you're trying to compete, you're trying to get that consumer dollar, to buy tickets, to come to games, to support the team, just like
Yep.
that high school AD is. What are some things that you do at your level to try and connect through social media that might be applicable to a high school AD in a small town with their audience? I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, but can you think of anything, any similarities?
Yeah, I feel like what stands out is really just being authentic to who you are, the brand that you're representing, and you don't want to be like somebody or represent something that you're not. So I would just, as an athletic director that is, trying to focus or implement some new social media tactics, like just stay true to who you are and connect with the people that are already in your gym or you're already talking to. And I think that will help grow your social media following authentically. And with that will be, people will be interested to partner with you. So I would say a lot of research is probably needed, not a lot, but some research is probably needed just to have an idea of, what are some trends in social media that are happening today, then how can I implement some of these to help my own brand and grow, our fan base.
As you were talking there, my mind was just kind of racing, and I'm going to go off script here a little bit. So, if it's not a good question, you can just say, Jake, that doesn't make sense. But in your time with the Vinick Sports Group, has there been a social media campaign or something very specific that you did to try to connect with the fans? And again, you're trying to get them to buy tickets. But was there a campaign, and that's my word, that was just very successful, that you look back and say, boy, that really worked. We really connected with our fans and got the results we were after?
Yes, definitely. The campaigns around our players do very well. People want to see our players in action, and not so much even on the ice. They want to see our players, like what they have to say and get a sense for their personalities. And that might be more high level because they're some of the top professional athletes in the world, and you don't normally get to see, into the person that they are. But for an example, like we put out a promotional video for a New Jersey release because we're going to be playing in a game outside in Nashville in a few months. And it had nothing to do with hockey, but the video was just kind of, it was funny, it was light, and it had to do with, because we're going to Nashville, just kind of like one of our players had a cowboy hat on. So I feel like it's just kind of connecting the fans with kind of like what is trending, and let's see what our players have to say, and dive into their personalities.
Wow, what an unusual idea to actually focus on the individual athletes.
Yeah.
I think a high school athletic director could relate to that very well. Promote the kids. Okay, that's what people want to see. Very
Most
cool
definitely.
stuff. Once again, we're visiting with Tyler DeLucca, Digital and Consumer Strategist for the Vinick Sports Group, mostly with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Tyler, we're going to do this again, but if one of our listeners wanted to reach out and pick your brain a little bit, what's the best way that they can get in touch with you?
Reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn, and we'll always get back to you. I mean, you can also shoot me an email, and we could provide that at a later time, but I can send that to you on LinkedIn as well. So that's the best way for me to reach out.
All right. Again, we're visiting with Tyler DeLucca. We'll be back with some more. Please stay with us. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We also want to thank Wall of Fame by Vital Signs for their support of the podcast. Wall of Fame has a mission to bring your school's legacy to life. They provide a variety of touchscreen, interactive video consoles and an extensive library of templates to make it easier than ever to recognize the athletic achievements of your students, both past and present. For ideas on how to showcase your school's diverse history, along with your proudest moments, go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. Or to learn more and get started with your own digital Wall of Fame tribute, call them at 614-981-3589, or you can email them at sales@vitalsignswalloffame.com. That's sales@vitalsignswalloffame.com. We're back visiting with Tyler DeLucca. Tyler, the last year and a half since we started the podcast, one of our questions at this point has often revolved around the topic of social awareness. And certainly, your position with the Lightning and the organization itself wants to make sure the community, sees, that they're talking the talk and walking the walk. So what are some things that, again, from an organizational standpoint, you do to help show the social awareness of your teams?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jake. I know with our organization at the Tampa Bay Lightning, we have a team dedicated to our community engagement, and they are always, sending out emails about updates about what type of event is going to take place for this game. They do something for each game to give back to the community, and as a brand, we want to be representative of the community in which we live. And so we really want to be inclusive and engaging to people of all different backgrounds. And so an example would be with the military base being here in Tampa, we have a military night, maybe at least once a month, where they bring out military veterans. They get a special passes to the game, kind of behind the scenes, bring out some of their military trucks right out to the venue, and it's really cool. Besides that, we have Pride Nights multiple times per year where, we're just really looking to actively engage with that community and let them know that they're a part of our brand. And we want to grow the game of hockey with them. As an organization, I would say too that, and this is important for athletic directors, that our organization is very clear with their communication that, with mental health, if we ever need anything, we have these resources that we can use that are dedicated for us at any point of the day, and no matter what, that we can go access these if we have anything that we want to talk about ourselves as employees. So they really do a great job with communication internally and externally to our fans, just to let everybody know that hockey is for everybody, and we want to make sure that we're representing our community well.
Yeah, I've actually attended some conferences in Tampa at the MC Suites right across from the arena there, and have noticed, the billboards, et cetera, on some of those community nights. Very cool stuff. Tyler, this has been really neat reconnecting with you, but we're not done yet. We always like to wrap up with what we call the athletic director's toolbox. And you certainly had a wide variety of athletic experiences in your young life so far. But in a minute, I'm going to ask you to send out a brand new athletic director on their very first job. But I'm only going to let you put 3 things in their toolbox. We're going to take a quick break and hear from Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack, who sponsor the AD Toolbox segment. And then we're going to find out what Tyler's going to put in his AD Toolbox. Please stay with us. Once again, we want to thank Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack for sponsoring the AD Toolbox segment of our podcast. Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack are a quick, easy, and affordable way for you to collect comprehensive data that allows you to evaluate and improve your entire program. Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack also gives you access to the 95% of the families, the parents, and the athletes who really love and support your program. And it gives them a voice to help show the importance that a positive athletic experience has for them. Go to Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack and look at their testimonials, and then give them a call at 1-800-738-6466, or you can email them at info@athleticsurveys.com to get started. If you've never used a survey to check the pulse of your parents or your athletes, you're really missing out on some important information. Go to Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack and let them help you take your athletic program from good to great. All right, we've come to that time where we're going to ask our guest, Tyler DeLucca, to give us the 3 tools that he would put in a toolbox for a brand new athletic director. Tyler, what do you have for us?
This is a great question, Jake, and I've spent some time thinking about this, and I've got one like hard skill and a couple soft skills that I'd like to share. So the first hard skill or physical, depending on the way you use it, would be a calendar. I think that as an AD, time management organization have to be one of the most important things that you're trying to deal with. You have your own personal life, and then more than half the time you're at the facility at different events at different high schools, helping support your teams. And so being able to have a calendar where you can dedicate that time, maybe some personal time to yourself, but also block off time for all of the events that you know that you're going to have to meet, all of the meetings that you're going to have with other coaches and personnel at the school is going to be extremely important. The next one I have would be, and this is what I noticed from you and took away from other experiences I've had in high school, is be like a sense of community. And this is one like a soft skill or just like something that I would recommend. I think that having a genuine connection with the students and the parents is incredibly important because they will buy in and respect you and listen to you. And I thought that at McClay, and I've seen it at other high schools where school spirit is incredibly important. I think that helps generate a lot of interest in the athletic program. And so that sense of community with the students, the parents, and school spirit would be another thing that I would have in the toolbox. And then lastly would be trust and kind of like empowerment. I put those two together because in order to efficiently and effectively, have great outcomes for your students, you need to empower the coaches and the people that you're working with, and be able to trust them that they're, you guys are bouncing ideas off each other, but ultimately like they're passing down the same message that you're trying to spread to them down to the students. And so I think that being able to have great communication between your staff and empower them to make decisions and help out their students is going to be incredibly important for the success of the athletic director and the students' athletic careers.
Wow, great stuff from someone still young in the profession. And thanks for that shout out about McClay. We tried to do a good job. Tyler, again, if one of our listeners wants to reach out and pick your brain a little bit, how can they get in touch with you?
Yes, feel free. You can shoot me an email at tdelucca, that's TDELUCCA at VinickSportsGroup.com.
Okay. And again, he's very active on LinkedIn. Please check him out. Tyler DeLucca, the Digital and Consumer Strategist for the Vinick Sports Group. Thanks so much for being on the podcast.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me, Jake.
For our listeners, remember the Zoom recordings of our interviews are uploaded to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We appreciate you listening today. Come back again next time for another episode of the Educational AD. And we also want to thank our sponsor, Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. You can learn more about what Hometown Ticketing can do for you and your school by going to hometownticketing.com. Hometown Ticketing, simple and easy online ticketing.